Hey guys, it's Bex. Welcome to another video. It is currently like the middle of May, and I personally feel like the start of summer is usually June, and it is still a little bit chilly here most days. It has gotten to like 80 a couple times, and now it's back in the 50s. So hopefully by June we will be getting our warmer summer weather. But with that being said, I wanted to do a video of my summer TBR, and I think I specifically have 21 books on this list, but a couple of them are continuations of series, and I just counted every book in the series that I haven't read yet. I would say about half of these books are specifically summary books, mostly romance summary books, and then the other half are just other books that I want to read soon, therefore in the summer. And I would say most of those ones are fantasy books. And I think if I really tried, I could read these all, because I feel like summer's like 3 months long. June, July, August is what I would consider my summer months. So that's what we'll be doing in today's video. And the other thing is that I don't own most of these books, so that's a problem. How many are in Kindle Unlimited? I think like 3 or something are in Kindle Unlimited, and then I own only like 4. So, you know, we're probably going to have to be borrowing from my library and or doing at least one more decent sized book haul to buy some of these books to read. But anyway, with that being said, we're gonna start, and the first book, I'm looking at a list, by the way, if you guys are wondering what I'm looking at, because like I said, I don't own most of these. So we're first going to talk about our more specifically summary romance books, and the first one I have is actually a book I've never heard of, and it is called The Summer of Skinny Dipping by Amanda Howells. And I say I've never heard of it, obviously I have because I have it on the list, but I, before this video, was trying to get some inspo on what books to read for the summer that were a little bit different and not just like your typical books that every single person says. And granted, I have a good amount of those on my list too, but this one I'd never heard anyone talk about, and it sounded really fun. It's a YA romance. By the way, I will be looking at my Kindle a lot throughout this video to remind myself what these books are about, and I'm just going to give a very quick synopsis of these books, or try. I always say that and then it ends up being really long. So yes, this is a YA romance book about this girl Mia who was unexpectedly dumped by her boyfriend, and she goes to spend her summer with her family in the Hamptons, and her cousin Corinne she hasn't seen in a couple years, and she turns out to kind of have changed over the last couple years. So Mia just kind of starts feeling like an outsider, but she meets this boy Simon, the boy staying next door to her. It says Simon starts to rub off on Mia, and she finally begins to open up, including sneaking out, taking late night walks on the beach, and maybe even falling in love. I love YA coming of age stories, and they don't even have to be like super romance heavy, but I just love coming of age stories about teenagers. I don't know why. I'm 26 years old, but I think we all kind of miss that feeling of being a teenager and the nostalgia of it. The next book I have on my list is a book by Annabelle Monaghan called Same Time Next Summer. She's the author that wrote Nora Goes Off Script, and I've heard great things, but I think this book is her newer book. It released last June. It's about this girl Sam. She's engaged and she goes to tour a wedding venue near her family's Long Island beach house, but when she arrives she runs into her ex-boyfriend Wyatt, who she dated when she was 17 and who broke her heart, and seeing him again is just taking her back, and she starts reminiscing on all those memories. This is really fun. It says beach rules: do take long walks on the sand, do put an umbrella in every cocktail, and do not run into your first love. I'm really excited about the next book on this list because I just read my first book by this author, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. It literally is called Beach Read. Like, I don't think I'm going to the beach at all this summer, or at least not at like the ocean beach on vacation, which is a bummer, but still perfect read for the summer. And I just read Funny Story by her and I really liked it, so I'm excited to read another one by her. And from what I know, it's about two authors. Is this the right book? Okay, yeah, I was right. So a romance writer and a literary writer stuck in a rut engaged in a summer-long challenge that may just upend everything they believe about happily ever afters. So they kind of switch roles, and I think the romance writer, which I believe is the girl, tries to write a literary book, and the guy, who's the literary writer, tries to write a romance book, and it's like a challenge for them or something. I don't know, but I've heard great things. Hi, Sammy. Wait, oh my gosh, I just went to look up the next book on my list, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm downloading it. Yay, that's exciting. I didn't know that. So that's one less book that I have to buy or try to find in my library. The book I'm talking about is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. It's about this girl who is like a bridesmaid at a wedding, but at the wedding, bride and groom, I believe, get food poisoning. Like food poisoning is going around the wedding, and so they can't go on their honeymoon. So the main character, the bridesmaid, and this guy, I think he's the best man or one of the groomsmen, they go on the honeymoon just so it doesn't go to waste, and they don't like each other, I'm pretty sure. That just sounds so fun, and I've heard it's really funny, I believe, and I just think it'll be a great, lighthearted, fun summer romance book. Next I have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walter. I have heard so many things about this book and haven't read it yet, and it is also on Kindle Unlimited, and I've also heard that it is kind of like The Summer I Turned Pretty, but instead of being YA, it's adult. It says, perfect for fans of Jenny Han's The Summer I Turned Pretty. Meredith's family annual game of assassin at Martha's Vineyard during a summer wedding is the perfect chance to honor her sister's legacy and finally join the world again. But when she forms an alliance with a cute groomsman, she's at risk of losing both the game and her heart. I absolutely love The Summer I Turned Pretty, so I feel like I'm going to really like this one. The next book is another one that I hadn't heard anyone ever talk about, and I actually found this recommendation on Reddit. So I literally Googled books similar to Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Wilde, and that book is called Lady Sunshine by Amy Mason Doan. It has music as a big part of the book, and it also takes place in the 1970s. And Mary Jane, I can't remember exactly when it took place, but I think it might have been around the 1970s as well, and it also involved music, so I totally get the correlation, so hopefully it is similar. And I like it. It has really good reviews on Kindle. It's like a 4.5 star, 679 reviews only. It definitely does not have very many. So it sounds like it is a then and now timeline. The then timeline is 1979 and the now timeline is 20 years later. In the summer of 1979, Jackie Pierce spent 3 months of infinite freedom at her bohemian uncle's sprawling estate on the California coast. Musicians, artists, and free spirits gathered at the sandcastle for the season, and Jackie and her cousin Willa fell into a fast friendship. But the summer abruptly ended in tragedy, and Willa silently slipped away into the night. And 20 years later, Jackie unexpectedly inherits the sandcastle and returns to the estate for a short visit to ready it for sale, but she reluctantly extends her stay when she learns that before her death, her estranged aunt had promised an up-and-coming producer he could record a tribute album to her late uncle at the property's studio. As her musical guests bring the place to life again with their sun-drenched beach days and late-night bonfires, Jackie begins to notice startling parallels to that summer long ago. And when a piece of the past resurfaces and sparks new questions about Willa's disappearance, Jackie must discover if the dark secret she's kept ever since is even the truth at all. So I don't think this book has romance in it. I think it's more so about friendship, a tale of secrets, music, and just a good summer read. So yeah, 2 books on this list that I have never heard anything of, and that kind of excites me. I hope that I like them. The next book I have on my list is Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read a couple of books by her and I really enjoyed them, so I've heard good things about this one. It is about a tennis star, Carrie Soto, who I think just kind of recently went into retirement, but when she finds out that someone, I think, has broken her record or something in the tennis world, she comes out of retirement to reclaim her title. And that's all I really know about it. If you've read Malibu Rising, she is in that book a tiny bit, Carrie Soto, and I don't really, she wasn't a very likable character in that book. Again, she was a very small part of that book, but I think it's cool how Taylor Jenkins Reid put her in that book and then made her her own book. Also, I loved Malibu Rising so much, and I was also kind of trying to find a book similar to that vibe, and I don't necessarily think this book is super similar, except that it's by the same author, and it seems summery to me because it's tennis, and I feel like that's like a summery sport. I don't know anything about tennis. I don't play tennis, but I've heard it's good and I'm excited to read it. Alright, the last book in my summary pile is a book I just bought. This is the first book I actually own in this video. Oh my gosh. And that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. Specifically, this book gives me very spring vibes, but I mean, it's spring right now and close enough. I've heard this book is just very like whimsical, cozy, and it is about this girl, Emily Wilde, who is a Cambridge professor who studies fairies, and she's trying to write her first, or the first, encyclopedia on fairy lore, and she goes to this little village to learn about the fairies, to write her encyclopedia, and when she's there, she meets this guy, and she's kind of just like not wanting anything to do with him, or really, she's not trying to befriend people, she's just trying to do her work and leave. But I guess that doesn't really happen because there is a little subplot of romance in it, but not too much I've heard. Like, look at this cover. It just screams whimsical. So perfect for the spring, summer. Okay, the next book, well, I'll talk about the next two books together. I have one of them and the next one actually doesn't come out until July, but I am so excited to read it that I will be buying it. I should probably pre-order it actually, and I am going to be reading it probably right when it comes out. But that is Powerful and Reckless by Lauren Roberts. So these are a part of the Powerless trilogy, or I don't know what you call it. I think it's technically a duology, but there's this novella, and then I think there's also going to be a novella after Reckless, so I don't know what you call that. Is it still a duology? I don't know. But yes, this is the little novella between Powerless and Reckless. I read Powerless a couple months ago, but I really loved it. It is a fantasy romance, young adult, enemies to lovers, about like this competition that our main character is in, and this book is about the best friend of Peyton, who's our main character in Powerless. Adina, I think is how you say her name, is the best friend and who is the main character in this book. And it takes place at the same time as Powerless, but in Adina's point of view and kind of her story. I've honestly heard such good things about this book, and it is like a longer novella. I think it's like 200 pages or even more than that. And I've just heard people say that they wish it was like 400 pages. They absolutely loved it and wish it was longer. So I really need to read it. I really hope I am going to get to it in June, and then I won't have to wait very long until Reckless. The next book is another book that isn't out yet. I believe it comes out June 4th or somewhere around there. It is the third book in a series called The Artifacts of Oranos series. The first book is called The Trial of the Sun Queen. The second book is called Rule of the Aurora King, and this third book is called Fate of the Sun King. And it is also a enemies to lovers fantasy romance series that I'm absolutely loving. I rated the first book in the series 4.25 stars and the second book of 4.5 stars. So I'm really excited to keep going. I haven't heard very much about this series either, but I really think it deserves more hype because I really loved it. It kind of is like the selection meets the Hunger Games, if I had to describe it, because there's like a group of girls. The main character is one of the girls who is competing to be the Sun Queen, but it's more like Hunger Games-esque because it's kind of, it can be deadly if you're not careful, the competition. Highly recommend, and I can't wait for the next book to come out. Oh, and also, I forgot, that one is also actually on Kindle Unlimited. The whole series is. So definitely give it a read if you have a Kindle. The next book is also on Kindle Unlimited, and that is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I almost bought it last time I went book shopping and I didn't, and I'm really glad because I didn't realize it was on Kindle Unlimited when I almost bought it. And this is also a fantasy romance. I don't know if it's YA or not. I don't think so, but it is about a witch and a witch hunter. Sorry if the angle changed at all. I tried to get it back to where it was, but my phone ran out of storage, so I had to get more. So the witch, I think her name is Rune. She kind of has like this alter ego called the Crimson Moth, who's like a witch vigilante, kind of trying to protect other witches from the witch hunters, and no one knows she's the Crimson Moth, and so she's kind of trying to get the witch hunters off of her scent. So she ends up kind of befriending, I guess you could say, this witch hunter, and she's pretending not to be a witch. So they kind of go on an adventure together, I guess. I just am a sucker for a good fantasy romance, specifically enemies to lovers. So really excited for this one, and I've all of a sudden heard a bunch of things about it, and they've all been very good things. So I really think I'm gonna like it. Two more. The next one I have is actually a mystery thriller, so I wanted to switch it up a little bit, and that is Five Survive by Holly Jackson. I have read one other book by her. She's the one that wrote the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I read the first book and I started the second book in like 2022, and I didn't absolutely love the first book. I think I probably rated it like a 3.75 stars. It was good. It was fine. It just wasn't anything crazy to me. So then I started the second book, and I think I got like maybe 75, 100 pages in, and I just put it down. I wasn't really feeling it, and I still have yet to pick it back up. I don't know if I ever will. So not 100% sure on this author for me, but I mean, I liked it enough to pick up another book by her. This one kind of caught my attention because it takes place over spring break. I think it's about this group of friends who are in a van going to their spring break destination, and they kind of get like, do they get like trapped in the van or something? And someone outside is trying to them or something. I don't really know. That is just what I remember about it from the multiple times I've heard about this book, and I just thought it would be a good little palate cleanser, mystery thriller, something different to throw in. And then the very last book slash series that I have on this list is Shatter Me. I am in the middle of the series a little bit. I started it in April. I read Shatter Me, and so far that's the only book I've read. I have all of them. I got like the box set where the novellas are like combined to be 2 in 1 book. So Unite Me has Destroy Me and Fracture Me, and then the last novella, Find Me, has Shadow Me and Reveal Me. And so I'm really excited to keep going. This series is a young adult dystopian with romance, and the main character Juliet has this weird like power where if she touches someone or they touch her, they could die. She's kind of taken by this group who wants to use her powers for their own agenda, and she's not about it. She doesn't want to be a part of it, so she's trying to fight back. So yeah, this will probably obviously take me a while to read. They are pretty quick reads, and obviously the novellas are very short. I think each one is like 100 pages, so very quick. Can't wait to finish the series because then I feel like I can finally start ACOTAR. My cat decided to join me for the outro. Oh, okay. So these, along with many others that I don't own, are the books that are on my summer TBR, and she left. Let me know if you guys have read any of these, what your thoughts were, if you have any other recommendations for me to read that are summery. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!